Hi everybody, it's Max J. Miller, co-author of with Robert Hollis of the upcoming How Is That Working? And the last few days I've been talking about the most common excuses that people have that stop them from pursuing their dreams, from making commitments to new ventures. And we discussed that underlying that is a fear that they are either willing or unwilling to confront. And I said that the people who really make the leap of faith, who actually make the move from the familiar, comfortable world to the world of that adventure, who get into action, are people who fundamentally have grappled with that fear. Who've wrestled with it. Not that they conquered it and it's going to go away and not be with them. It's going to stay with you. Fear is there, and courage is not the absence of fear, but rather moving forward with fear. Confronting fear and moving forward anyway. And so the mystery that I spoke of, the real question is, what is it that causes that pop, that shift that happens, that allows a person or empowers them to make that leap of faith, that moves them from that old world, that familiar world, into the new world, or at least the world of adventure. And we said that it is a bit of a mystery, but one thing for sure, it is a commitment. It's a leap of faith. It's getting that why clear in one's mind and heart, and getting that beyond not having to figure out how, but actually getting the why and letting the why guide you. What your deep purpose is, let that guide you rather than and figure out how on the way, in the action. That's the main thing. So all of the wisdom literature and the great teachers of the ages have at some point talked about and wrestled with this fundamental issue of commitment. And I wanted to share just a few things with you. These are all things that come out of the chapter on commitment from How Do You Know That, my upcoming book. Our favorite hero stories overflow with encouragement for risk-taking in service of great dreams. Jake LaMotta, Jake LaMotta's brother in Raging Bull, says this: "So do it. If you win, you win. If you lose, you win." I love that. Mark Twain warns us of regrets that we may experience if we fail to venture forth. He says, "Years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than the ones you did do. So throw off the bowline, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, and discover." And so the real, there's so many great quotes, and I have many more in here that are meant to encourage us to take that leap of faith. But the question remains, are you willing to risk the loss of comfort and reputation in the service of your vision? Joseph Campbell writes, "Everywhere, no matter what the sphere of interest, whether religious, political, or personal, the really creative acts are represented as those deriving from some sort of dying to the world." That's the old world, right? That was his quote. Then that dying to the old world makes up one half of the formula of commitment. You must cut off any option for retreat. In other words, you've got to say to yourself, I can't go back. I'm not going back. Robert, in his story, tells an important piece where he encounters this kind of embarrassment because his kid is asking him, why isn't he parking right in front of the house? And he says, I was embarrassed. I didn't want to tell him that I was hiding the car from the repo man. And that was the day. He just drew a line in the sand and said, I'm not going to live this way. I'm not going to let my future be more of that. And so that's the day he just popped and he made that decision. And miraculously, guess what? Really immediately, opportunity came knocking at his door. This is what we're talking about. So that dying to the world makes up one half of the formula of commitment. You cut off any option for retreat. And the other half of the formula of commitment involves devotion or dedication to your vision. Throwing yourself so fully into your dream that your identity fuses with it. These are the two aspects of commitment: cut off options for retreat and cleave to your vision. Does this sound familiar? Well, this is the ancient Hebrew marriage formula. A man shall leave his father and mother, he cuts off options for retreat, and cleave to his wife, becoming one with her. That kind of commitment, when undertaken authentically, creates a new future. It transforms everything in your world. Commitment must never be confused with just some emotional state or desire or mental process. One can only commit by virtue of action. President Kennedy used to tell a story about running with friends through a New England forest and encountering a large stone wall. The wall appeared insurmountable and extended beyond view in both directions. One boy says, "We can't get over it or around it, so I guess we'll have to go back." And another boy, looking at the wall, takes off his cap and flung it over the wall. The boys were aghast at him. "Why did you do that?" they asked. He replied exuberantly, "Well, that's my favorite cap. Now we don't have any choice but to get over that wall." That action, throwing the hat over the wall, was his commitment. Now, here's one of the great mysteries in human achievement. If you ask most people why they haven't accomplished their dreams, they'll give you a clear explanation. They blame themselves, others, and circumstances, and it all makes perfect sense. Now ask the person who has achieved extraordinary success how it happened, and they will often demur from a definitive explanation and humbly speak of luck, timing, and the mysteries of life. Their surprising discovery of resources and powers beyond human understanding correlates to having risked themselves completely, having tested the limits of their own ability, having committed themselves, having cast themselves, as it were, upon the fates. Only then, only when one's own devices have been exhausted, can one truly open oneself up to the mystery that is of what is commonly called faith. An inspiring example of this wonderful life on the other side of commitment comes from W.H. Murray, reflecting upon his pioneering ascent of Mount Everest. "But when I said that nothing," this is the quote, "but when I said that nothing had been done, I erred in one important matter. We had definitely committed ourselves, and we were halfway out of our ruts. We had put down our passage money, booked a sailing to Bombay." This is when he's going to become the first ever to climb Mount Everest. Until one is committed, he says, "This may sound simple, but it is great in consequence. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance always to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then Providence moves too. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. I learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do, or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it." Well, I can't top that. So thanks for tuning in. We're going to explore these issues much, much more. I appreciate your watching these videos. Feel free to leave a comment or ask a question. I look forward to interacting with you. Bye-bye for now.